Dixie, how you doing? Well, we're on day 2 of being in England. Now we're headed to Liverpool. We got to see some of the countryside as we're riding the train. So come along with me, and we're headed to Liverpool to see what we can find. All kinds of sights and stuff of the Beatles. All right, here we go.
Hi, my name's Tim Hemmings, and I'm doing a Liverpool tour today with Brad. It's John Lennon's art school, which he didn't go to that much. So he used to go and drink dingy crap, with Stuart Sutcliffe and the Beatles. And there's actually pictures of him just sitting outside with his first, what would become his first wife, Cynthia. This was Paul McCartney's high school, his secondary school, Liverpool Institute, also George Harrison, and then next door to it was John Lennon's art school. So you would have had a 17-year-old John Lennon, a 16-year-old Paul McCartney, and a 15-year-old George Harrison, all hanging around here. John was 17, he went to art school, he had a girlfriend, he was cool. George Harrison was 15, he didn't go to art school, so he used to try and hang out with John. John would be like, I'm with my girlfriend, give us a bit of space. So they got this lovely sculpture here called the Case History, which deals with people that came from and to this area. So you've got Paul McCartney's Hofner bass guitar, and then the next one down is Stuart Sutcliffe, in for the first 5 years of his life, and we'll show you the second one.
Okay, and the Ringo's house is right through here, right?
Yes,
so
it
we're
is.
pointing it to...
Yeah, so it's the 1, 2,
Pointed
3,
out, yeah.
4, the 5th door on your left, and someone's usefully hung a monkey from a... Brad, that was the cover of Ringo's first solo album, Sentimental Journey.
There we go, everybody. Unreal.
It's Ringo's second home. He lived here from 5 years old until he was famous. So if you imagine the house is like this, you would have had a backyard here, and then when he became the toilet was there. So when he was famous,
There we go, this is Ringo's house here.
His mum used to come out with a broom and push them all off the wall.
And once again, here's the street. Just thought I'd show you the houses together.
It's now called Tony Slavin. Sorry.
What did you say?
Which is great, yeah.
Well, in the song he mentions the barber shop,
right.
so that was the original one. Yeah.
And the toilet in the middle of the building's still there, isn't it?
So he came with James Corden, and they've actually put this on so it protects it.
Yeah, nobody will swipe it, huh?
Yeah. So he got a pen out and wrote Paul McCartney.
Yeah, pretty neat there now.
So that's the shelter in the middle of the roundabout. Paul would have come that way to go to school, that way to his house. The bank was here.
Oh, yes.
So the bank manager would have parked there and just run to get the bus. I love EPs.
And this is George Harrison's house where he was born.
Yeah.
As you can see, get out of the sun a little bit. George's house. Some more of George Harrison's. There we go. Just a little bit of a spin around the street here.
But even with George in the band, for a time they played the three of them without a drummer, and they used to enter talent competitions and they would get beaten by a lady that played the spoons, McCartney. So this is the day that John and Paul meet for the first time, and they met in the church hall just over there. The first thing Paul McCartney did when he met them was he tuned their guitars because they'd been playing out of tune. Then he played Be-Popalula and 20 Flight Rock. Look back 3 diagonally, you can see it says John Rigby. So 2/3 of the way down, it also says Eleanor Rigby. It's a coincidence, you know, Paul McCartney. I'm just saying that it's 3 back from here. You need to come this way a little bit. It says John Rigby, and on the same stone, 2/3 of the way down, it says Eleanor Rigby. So it is a coincidence. Paul McCartney started the song as McCartney, so it was Father McCartney. Then when he could see that the song was going to be quite morbid, he looked for another name. Eleanor Bron was the actress in Help, so he got Eleanor from there. And Rigby's was a wine merchant in Bristol, where he was visiting Jane Asher, so he put Eleanor and Rigby together. And then somebody goes, but there's an Eleanor Rigby buried in the churchyard where they first met. So it was in this hall that they met. The Quarrymen did 2 performances, one in the church, one in the field behind the church, and then they moved over here for the second performance, and this is where John and Paul are sort of officially introduced for the first time. Paul had originally come to try and pick up girls, but he didn't have any luck that day. But obviously becoming a Beatle would help him in his pursuit.
Oh wow. So there you go. Pretty neat, huh? All right, here we go. We're out in front of Strawberry Fields, and here's the gates. Fantastic.
It'll be a kind of an open centre. It's like Salvation
And they're getting ready to build a big Strawberry Fields area in the back. I'll show you that in a second. Okay, here we go. Actually recognize who this is. This is now Paul McCartney's house. So this is his. Be taking a tour of Paul's house. I don't be able to take any video, so, but here's the street. Also, Paul did this in his karaoke as well.
Well, guys, hello, I'm Linda. I'm going to take you around the house today, and then you can have a look around the house yourselves. At the end, you can stand here and do loads of photos, so plenty of time for that. We're waiting for Joe to bring the bus back, okay? So Paul McCartney lived here for 8 years. He moved here when he was 13 and he moved away when he was 21. Paul moved here with his dad Jim, Mum Mary and brother Mike. Mike McCartney is 18 months younger than Paul, and it's Mike's photos inside the house. Went on in the early 60s. So the McCartneys rented the house from the council. It was social housing. If you look around, you can see that people bought their houses in the 80s. And they changed the windows. When the trust bought the house in 1995, we needed these windows to make it look like the 50s. And our neighbours over there had them, so we bought them nice new double glazing. And we've got so they did like it did in the 50s. So Paul's mum Mary was a midwife. Mary would be given houses like this to rent, and she'll be expected to go around the area delivering babies, just like Call the Midwife if you watch that programme. McCartney Family Home, and that's what it says now. So there's no photography in the house. I'm going to lock your bags and cameras in the cupboard, and if you could switch off your phones because we're going back to the 50s.
Now, firstly, before I get into the meat and drink of the talk, can I just ask a question out of courtesy to everybody at this? Welcome on behalf of the National Trust, excuse me, and also welcome on behalf of Yoko Ono, because it was John's second wife, Yoko, who purchased this house in 2002, and she entrusted this property to the care of the National Trust, so this house will be preserved in a manner as John would have recalled it during his lifetime here. My name is Stephen Nelson. I'll be your guide here this afternoon. Now, firstly, there's 2 charities I briefly need to outline. The National Trust itself dates from 1895. Very long-standing, august body that John would have been well aware of during his lifetime, and indeed he made a somewhat sardonic reference to the National Trust on a White Album song in 1968. Distinct from the National Trust is English Heritage. Now, they are the organisation responsible for the blue plaque that we have at the front of the building here. Now, there's 2 criteria for an English Heritage blue plaque. You either need to be a person of note or distinction who's 100 years old, or sadly 20 years deceased, and that is the reason why this particular plaque was unveiled here in December of 2000 on the 20th anniversary of John's passing by his half sister Julia Baird and by his cousin Michael Cadwallader. So that plaque was already in place prior to the National Trust taking on the care of this house. On the opposite side, I've got a block of adjoining semi-detached properties. The last one of which, the White House on the corner with a large tree in front of it, that was the home of Bill Smith. Now, Bill Smith was the original tea-chest bass player in the Quarrymen. Okay, Ron, so take us up to the side there. This house was actually owned by John's Uncle George and his Aunt Mary Elizabeth, better known within the family as Aunt Mimi. Another subtle difference between the two houses is the fact that this house doesn't merely have a number, 251 Menlove Avenue, it also has a name, Mendips, named after the hill range in the southwest of England. Now this house dates from 1933, but the enclosed porch at the front here, this is not original to the house. The original porch was shallower and open to the elements at the sides. This was added in 1952, so again a change that would have occurred whilst John was living here on the 6th of July 1957. That's because John's band, the Quarrymen, played the church's Summer Fete. In the afternoon they played in a field on the side of the road of the church itself. They then crossed over the street for an evening performance in the church hall. And it was prior to the evening set that John was introduced to Paul by a mutual friend that I'll tell you about once we get to the top of the path at the side of the house here. But suffice to say, the first time that Paul McCartney was invited up here to practice with the band, he would have been forewarned in advance. Aunt Mimi's rules: whatever you do, don't try coming in by the front door. So when he arrived in the house, the same man that Paul would have had to do late in the summer of 1957, and that would have been via the side gate.
This is the side of the house.
Quite clearly at the beginning of the tour, no photography beyond the side gate.
So, hey everybody, sorry I had to cut that video short, but we're getting ready to go into John Lennon's house, and they didn't want me to do any videotaping outside along the side there, so I got fussed at because they didn't want the cameras, so it ended kind of abruptly. So we're starting off our tour again. Here we go. All right, look at this, everybody. This is the Philharmonic Dining Club thing. It's right up in there. And look at the architecture of this. It's just magnificent the way this is. The reason I'm filming this is exactly the same place where Paul McCartney performed karaoke carpool when he was doing all of that as well. So this is the pub that he was in when he did that. So there's the entranceway along this street. So there we go. All right. Okay, here we are inside, and this is the pub part. Here we go, right here.
Hey Beatle Brad, welcome to Liverpool, England, the Philharmonic. Nice to see you guys.
Hey, let's walk down this hall. What could be down here? Let's take a look. What do you say? This is the room where Paul McCartney performed when he had his live band here, when he was on the karaoke TV show that he did. And this is where he stood with his band, and the pub was full of people, and this was exactly where it is. So this is really, really cool to be in here to see this. Oh, look at this, a picture of Paul. Oh yeah, they got candles in front of it as well. That's neat. Just walking up the street here, and this is a pub that the Beatles used to come to, and it's Wide Crack. This is a big abbey, but this was bombed during the war, and it's still standing. But I wanted to show you this. Doesn't this look like the thing that Paul McCartney used, the statues of the men that were in the actual video for Pipes of Peace on his album? It could be. Yeah, see here, this is talking about the truce. It's ripped up a little bit, but you kind of get the idea. And like I said, and here it is through the gates of the truce. Paul McCartney. Okay, next up, the Jacaranda, where the Beatles would come with their first manager. This is it. Neat. Let's go inside.
Well, 3 of these pictures we went over and got from Astrid Kirch in Germany. So the Stuart Sutcliffe Works on Paper, the Hanover girder picture, and the one of John and Stuart at the dock on the right-hand side. And they're all signed by Astrid, original prints.
Look at this, everybody. This is just fantastic. Oh, man. They are not open, but they opened up just for Beatle Brad. How about that?
There's a couple that one is as well. And that's the van, of course, that Alan took them over to Hamburg in, that they're sitting on in that sort of sepia. Half that we're still in now is the original Jacaranda, so the other half where the bar is would have been next door. It's really small. And of course this corner's the corner where the guys would have played back in 58.
Yeah, this is quite small, but it's fantastic.
Brilliant. And of course the mural was done originally by Stuart Sutcliffe and John and a bunch of the guys from the art school.
Wow, that was done by Stuart. Oh my gosh.
And yeah, I mean it's been sort of restored a number of times over the years, but it's fairly true to the original, I think. And as we were saying earlier, that little bit behind the plexiglass there, that hasn't been touched. So you can see if it hadn't been restored in any way, it really wouldn't be there at all now. It would have totally vanished.
Give you an idea of how small the stage is. Here's a backup shot, a little bit of the stage, and then kind of, I'm at the end of the bar, so it's not much bigger. And here's shooting the other way, here's the bar.
Of course, like the Jacaranda didn't have an alcohol license, so there was no booze served. Wow. Yeah, it was all coffee and tea and toast. And then if you wanted a drink, you had to go to the pub next door. Oh, to get a beer.
So about 18 months ago, May Ping actually dropped into the Jacaranda, and she'd never been in before. But she was telling us that in the later years, before he got shot, that John used to talk about the Jacaranda quite a lot as one of the happiest places that he remembered, I think before the maelstrom engulfed them. And she got quite emotional actually being in the Jacaranda and talking to us about the history of the place.
Okay, I finished my fish and chips. They were fantastic. Loved it. But now, one of the best things we're going to do in Liverpool is go record digging. See if we can find some great Beatles on vinyl. So let's go take a look. I did the record stores, but just for fun, I thought I'd show you outside here. This is kind of neat where these umbrellas are all hanging from the sky. Kind of pretty. Just thought I'd show you something just fun and different. A little commercial break before I go back to the next Beatle place. Okay, we found this, stumbled across it just for fun. But this is a bar that I wanted to show you, and as the bus blocks my spot. Great. McCartney's Bar. How fab is that? Look at that, McCartney's Bar. Let's see if we can go in. Okay, here's some of the things in here. I'll probably just tape real quickly, show you a few things, because I don't want to get flagged with the music. Some other ones on the other side of the wall. Pretty neat. Alright. Okay, here's some neat things along the side of the wall here. Yeah, look at this. This is really neat. I like this a lot. That would look neat in Beatle Brad's room. Another great picture up here. This is really nice. Hey everybody, look at this. We're on Mathew Street. Hey, and speaking of Mathew Street, Mathew's a great friend of mine, so make sure you watch his channel. And this is kind of where he got his name for Mathew Street. So here we are on Mathew Street in Liverpool. The Cavern Club. Okay, there's the Sgt. Pepper Club. And right here is the Cavern. There's the Cavern Club. How about that? Really neat. It's very noisy downstairs, but you get to see the actual cavern from here as you go down the steps to the basement. But I'll get flagged, so I'm not going to do it. So sorry about that, everybody. But there's cavern doors and stuff. But yeah, just not going to do it because, like I said, I just don't want to get flagged. Yeah, there we go. So there's the... I was there last night downstairs in the cavern, and it was absolutely jam-packed with people. Music and all kinds of stuff, but it was a lot of fun. But this is what I'm going to do right now. Nice. Look at that. Awesomely cool. And fabulous. All right, we are standing now out in front of the Hard Day's Night Hotel, which I think would be kind of neat to see what's inside. So, let's go in. Thought I'd show you here some of the statues up above. There we go, this is the next one. There we go, all four of them. All the way down the top of the building. Well, not the top, but the middle part.
Thank you.
Boom.
Hi, Beatle Brad.
And then there's those statues. It's in the lobby here. You can get the statues, and there's some pictures and other stuff like that. More Beatles stuff as we see it. Okay, here we are standing in front of the clock tower in Liverpool, and I'm along the Mersey River, which Jerry and the Pacemakers did the song Ferry Across the Mersey, and here's the bronze statue of the Beatles. Yep, there we go, bronze statue of them. All right, everybody. Well, a splendid time was guaranteed for all, and we had a great time in Liverpool. So I hope you enjoyed my video, and well, what a great time I had. Boy, it's been cold today. I'm wearing a sweatshirt today, but it's been a great time. So as I say on my channel, I'm out of here. Take care, everybody. See ya.